Hey everyone. On today's lesson, we're going to take a look at how to solve multi-step absolute value equations. Just a little intro here. We know that the absolute value represents the distance a number is from 0. That's why an absolute value is always positive, because we know that distance is always a positive number. In general, the absolute value of x is equal to a has two possible solutions. We have both the positive and the negative solution. So when we're solving these, we're going to isolate the absolute value and then split it into our two solutions. Just to show why that works, if I was to take, say, the absolute value of 2, we know that my answer would be 2. But also, if I was to take the absolute value of, say, negative 2, you know that that would also yield the same answer, 2. So you need to kind of cover your bases here to solve for both, because it's possible to have a positive or a negative solution yield the same answer in your absolute value. Okay, so that would be why we're splitting our answers when we isolate our absolute value. All right, let's take a quick look at an example here. All right, so here's a multi-step absolute value equation. First thing I want to do here is isolate the absolute value sign as you would if it was a variable. So we're going to treat this absolute value of x minus 2 like it was a variable. I want to isolate just that and have just the absolute value on one side of my equation. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we're going to solve for both our positive and our negative solution. So the first thing you'd want to do down here is, again, you're trying to get the absolute value by itself by using inverse operations. I'm going to add 10 on both sides, and I end up with 3x minus 2 absolute value equals 21. Okay, again, I want to get the absolute value completely by itself, so in order to get rid of that 3 out front, I'm going to divide by 3, just as if it was a 3x. Okay, so that gives me the absolute value of x minus 2 equals 7. Okay, so we have the absolute value by itself. We have a number on the other side. That's the way we want to have this, where we can now split it into our two solutions, positive and negative. Okay, so we have x minus 2 is equal to 7. We also have x minus 2 is equal to negative 7. So this covers my two solutions, both positive and negative. This is my split. And now we solve both of our equations. So on the left side, I'm going to add 2 on both sides, and I get x equals 9. That's one possible solution. And I'm going to add 2 on both sides over here, and I get x equals negative 5. And there is my second solution. Now, it did work out here that we had a positive and negative answer for x. That is not always the case. It's possible to have two positives when you get to this step. It's possible to have two negatives when you get to this step. It all depends on the equation, okay? But don't force it to have a positive and a negative solution. That's not always the case. The positive and negative part is coming from when you split the equation. All right, so there's your basic steps on how to solve multi-step absolute value equations. Again, you are going to isolate the absolute value first. Okay, here's your important step where it comes to that. And then you're going to split it and solve for both of your solutions.